What's up, everybody, and welcome to Malt Music Whiskey Reviews. I'm Eric from the bar for today. I have a bourbon, and a special one at that, Old Forester Birthday Bourbon. This is the 21st edition, or the release from 2021. As always here on the channel, nose taste finish review of this whiskey is coming your way. I'll tell you a bit about the value, give you some of my final thoughts, leave you with a final score, and of course, leave you with them all amusing. But first, if you've yet to take a second, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you don't miss these reviews. Drop them every Friday here on YouTube. All right. So first and foremost, check this bottle out, right? Old Forester. They are out of Louisville, Kentucky, owned by Brown-Forman Distillers. And the whiskey that we're looking at here is their limited annual release birthday bourbon. Now, whose birthday, you ask? This is released on September 2nd to commemorate, what is his name? George Garvin Brown, the guy who created the Old Forester distillery. So each year they put out a release. They differ a little bit in flavor. This one is 12 years old. It is bottled at 52% ABV or 104 proof in the American proof system. A few more details on this. Let's see here. It was 119 barrels that they did of this one. Again, the barreling is changed each year. So sometimes they do more, sometimes they do less. Think about Old Forester. They are the first bottled bourbon. So really cool history on that. You should check it out if you are interested in such things. Okay, so in honor of George Garvin Brown's birthday in September, we are going to crack this baby open and have a pour. Since it's a bourbon, you know that it is completely natural color, because bourbon, unlike Scotch whiskey, is not allowed to have fake colorant added. That is the color we are looking at, and wow, is that nice. As for chill filtration, they can chill filter. I will take a quick scan here, but I don't see anything on here that says anything about chill filtration. So there's a very distinct possibility that they did chill filter this. Bunch of tasting notes. This year's birthday bourbon marks the 21st limited edition, selected from a single day of production and hand selected by master distiller Chris Morrison, master taster Jackie Zykan. Limited edition small batch, vintage dated, offering one-of-a-kind character, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so we're looking at a 52 proof, 12-year-old, I'm sorry, 52% ABV, 12-year-old Old Forester birthday bourbon here. So let's take a look. On the nose, wow. I mean, it is just really rich. It is very rounded, spicy. A really fantastic nose. And when I say spicy, there isn't even a tick of heat on this. It is all just rich, robust, kind of sort of these kind of like burnt sugar, burnt toffee, some kind of baking spices. Really, really nice. The legs on this are nice as well. It has some of that classic kind of dark oak char note that I tend to get off of a lot of Old Forester. Sometimes it comes across almost like root beer. I'm getting faint hints of that on this, maybe just a little bit of anise. Maybe a hint of fruit in the back. Apple. I mean, again, this just smells like a very nicely well-rounded, deep, rich bourbon. Well, let's give it a taste. Cheers, y'all. It's beautifully for 52 ABV. The palate is just incredibly creamy. S'mores. Marshmallow chocolate graham cracker mix. For those of you who maybe don't know what those are from outside the US, ton of that on here. Toffee, hints of butterscotch. The fruit, the kind of fruit notes that you sometimes, or I should say often get on some bourbons, not really present here. If there is, it's hints of maybe orange. But this is just a very creamy, decadent, chocolatey, rich bourbon, relaxed too. On the back end, you get just a little bit of heat with some spice. It dries off into a nice kind of oaks, dark ground cinnamon kind of note as it goes into a nice long finish, malted milk ball, vanilla, cocoa, maybe a little bit of mint. Wow. It's an understated nose. It really is. I'll do one more taste neat here. Wow. Sugar, caramel, that s'mores note. Right on the mid palate, you just get this nice surge of kind of like vanilla, maybe a little bit of coffee bean. Wow, really, really nice. There is a hint of mint on the back. I thought I was picking that up. It's coming through more now. I'm going to put a couple drops of water on this just to see what else we get. 52% ABV. Now, proof-wise, when we think about the Old Forester line, you know, they have their standard 80 proof bourbon. They also have that 100 proof classic or whatever that's called. That's a really nice one, cheap too. And then you have their Whiskey Rose series, you know, going all the way up to the Prohibition edition, which is much higher than this one. I think it's like 112, 113 proof. So this one is not the highest proof, but the age statement, I think this is, I'm not sure they bottle much more that's older than this. I don't think their single barrels are older than 12. Water is not doing a ton on the nose. I think I'm getting a little bit more kind of apple cinnamon, like apple crisp. But the cinnamon coming through a lot more here. And it is not like red hot candies. It is much more kind of like your ground cinnamon stick. Nice dark oak char, dark chocolate. Again, just that warm spice, creaminess, just great legs. This thing is moving real slow. Okay, here we go. Really fantastic. All the way through. Rich, creaminess, a bit of, you know, still a little bit more heat than I expected now, but a good spice. It doesn't take anything away. It definitely is playing well with everything else here. Man, there's almost like a pecan pie thing going on here with the water. It's a little nuttiness coming to the surface. Wow, this is a good one. One last thing I'm picking up. As it goes into the finish, again, with water, it's less of that malted milk ball and much more like a chocolate syrup, like dark chocolate, drizzled on like a sundae or something like that level of just kind of like sticky chocolate. Okay, so let's talk about value. A bottle of Old Forester birthday bourbon. As I mentioned earlier, this run was 119 barrels. That is peanuts. So this is definitely an exclusive whiskey. Cost-wise, so the MSRP on this is about $130. To be completely honest with you, you would be incredibly lucky to find a bottle at that price. What you will see instead is that this will be around secondary markets. I've seen it upwards of $1,000, or you will find it somewhere sitting on a shelf at a liquor store if you're lucky, exceptionally priced in that $400, $500 range probably. So look, you know, if you find this at MSRP, good, you know, it's a totally solid value, but you won't unless you're lucky. So I'm going to go medium low on the value, even though this is that good, because honestly, as we'll talk about in final thoughts, I don't think this is worth spending hundreds of dollars on. So let's talk about final thoughts, shall we? All right. This is one of these unicorn bottles. And in this day and age, these are the things you will find floating about on the internet, people trying to make, well, make a bunch of money off of it. it's a highly inflated market on bourbons like this, so it's no surprise that this is going to be a very difficult thing to find. The whiskey itself is quite good. This is a high quality premium bourbon from Old Forester. I happen to be a big fan of their stuff, so having something of this caliber is a real treat for me. You can look back in my archive on the channel here. I did do full reviews of all of the 4 Whiskey Row series whiskeys, which are all really exceptional. So, you know, look, this is just not something that I think you need to, I would recommend people going out and spending tons of money on. Well, it's a great bourbon. There's a ton of good bourbon out there that you can get at much, much lower prices. If I was gonna point to an alternative in the Whiskey Row series, the 1910 or the 1920 are probably the ones that I would point to. The 1910 is lower in ABV, but is similar in character. The 1920 Prohibition style, a bit hardier and a bit more robust, but kind of the same thing. And those are, you're looking at 50 to 60 bucks. They don't have the 12-year age statement. They are not going to be nearly as good as this, but they are really quality bourbons. So look, if you find a birthday bourbon out there somewhere at a good price, or you just really want this for some reason, okay, go for it. But I think the price and the bourbon craze market as it is makes this way outside anything reasonable as far as value goes. So look, all things considered, my final score on this is going to be a 4.25, which means, hey, if you get an opportunity to find this at a decent price, if it's out there, snatch it up. And don't sell it, by the way. Drink it. It's worth drinking. It's good. But if somebody tries to sell you this for $900, I would tell them to take a hike. So 4.25 out of 5. That is the final score on the Old Forester Birthday Bourbon 2021 21st limited release. With that, I will kick you on over to your malt musing. Do let me know in the chat below, have you had this or any previous expressions? Would love to hear what your thoughts are. And with that, cue your malt musing. I'll see you guys next week. Slaunch.